Hi, my name is Luke, you can call me Lucky, and today it's cold. I'm in Sapporo for the New Year's, and well, walking around this nice and beautiful snowy city, I'm reminded of my own city of Toronto. And having grown up in Toronto, I feel that I understand how a city is designed to handle weather that is cold and snowy. Did I say snowy enough? I'm going to say a lot more in this video. One of the things I've noticed that Toronto and Sapporo have in common is their design of fire hydrants, dry barrel fire hydrants. Now, people smarter than me and can explain in much greater detail what exactly that is, but essentially what it is it's a fire hydrant that doesn't keep water in it. Now, the reason we don't keep water inside of the hydrant is because, well, it gets very cold, and when it gets below freezing, the water will freeze and the ice will expand inside of the metal compartment, causing it to rupture the pipes. And well, let's just say that wouldn't be fun for anyone. So we keep the water under the ground level where we don't have to worry about that. Should we just check and cross? No, we're on video. They're gonna see us doing bad things. No. Let's go over there. Oh, I'm okay. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is the standard of fire hydrants, I might argue, probably around the world. But the reality is that that is not the standard around the world. In different places, there are different conditions and needs that need to be met, and therefore they use different designs. For example, in warmer cities like Fukuoka or other ones in Kyushu, the fire hydrant design, it's completely flushed to the ground. It looks a little bit similar to something like this, like a manhole cover, but much smaller. And as strange as that may seem initially, there are actually a few benefits to this design. For example, I think it costs the city less per fire hydrant because, well, they don't have to order and install giant heavy fire hydrants everywhere. They can just have them already underneath. It's also nicer looking. I mean, that's subjective, but personally, I think having one less brightly colored obstruction on every street corner just looks better for the cityscape. And finally, oh man, that's nice. Finally, and most importantly, I think the greatest benefit of having the fire hydrant underground is that it's one less point of failure that's exposed to above ground threats. For example, imagine if a car were to swerve off the road and onto the sidewalk and hit one of these fire hydrants. Or, there are bad actors, people who will misuse the fire hydrant as biking, parking, or a trash can. I mean, there's a whole number of things that bad people can do to good infrastructure like a fire hydrant. And so having them hidden underground, it's just it's one less problem in your way. Let's walk to that thing. What is that thing? That looks fun. Every design has its drawbacks. So the same low profile that makes the flush design so appealing to the cityscape also removes the very vital visual indicators that emergency responders need to locate a fire hydrant in a quick and decisive manner in said emergency. So that's really important. So what's the workaround? Well, the workaround is a sign. The sign will indicate where the fire hydrants are. So now you have a fire hydrant that's hidden and a sign that's not. And well, yeah, there's an argument to be made that this just reintroduces a lot of the drawbacks of the original design. I think that this style of fire hydrant is still better. I think that it's easier to maintain, and it's also still hiding the infrastructure itself and making it less exposed. So it's safer overall. But now we have to ask the question, if the design is so good, why not use that design everywhere? Well, we can't. because different cities and different environments have different needs. If we use this flush design in Canada, well, it would immediately be buried under snow when the plows plow all of the snow off the roads and onto the sidewalks, and well, that would be bad news if there were a fire. That a fire hydrant would be covered in snow and ice. We therefore don't use the flush design. We stick to and maintain the traditional fire hydrant. So let's bring this all together. In Canada, we have above ground hydrants with no signs, and in Fukuoka, we have below ground fire hydrants with signs. And here in Quadrant D in Sapporo, there are above ground hydrants with signs. This is what the fire hydrant looks like. This is what we're talking about today. You can see that it has a very tall sign to indicate where the hydrant is, and the hydrant itself is also brightly colored, so it's easy to spot from a distance. There's a few other technical design choices here, but for the most part, the important things to know are that it's brightly colored and there's a sign. And this is the design together. I like the approach that Sapporo takes to fire hydrants because in its design, the redundancy is a fail-safe for visual indication of where the fire hydrant is. Even if the fire hydrant itself gets snowed over, then the sign will still tell you where to look. And in an emergency, having to dig those extra few decimeters to the ground versus to a fire hydrant that's already exposed above ground, well, those few seconds and those few centimeters make a big difference. And so I think Sapporo has a very good fire hydrant design. Let's go find one somewhere around here. I guarantee you, oh, there's one right there. That's this one. Yeah.
I'm telling you.
You did tell me. You're right. You're right. You want to tie your shoelace? I'll hold that. The camera?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, despite all the fanfare that I've been giving this design, its functionality isn't what impresses me the most. It's the approach that Japan has towards adopting and adapting Western designs. You see, the original fire hydrant was initially invented in Philadelphia, USA in the early 1800s, and the first fire hydrant, modern fire hydrant, was installed in Yokohama, Japan 75-ish years later. And while this is the modern fire hydrant design, the sign that accompanies it wasn't standardized until the 1960s, when Japan decided they wanted to decentralize emergency services to the municipal level. The idea was that each city and ward could look after itself and only call on the prefectural or national services if needed. But in order for a bottom-up system like that to work, there needed to be a strict enforcement of standardization all throughout Japan. And so when we look at signs like this, we see a byproduct of Japan's national movement in adopting international designs and making it a part of their own. When we look at this and we take a step back, what we see are the building blocks that made the Japan the country that it is today. Now, I get this feeling a lot when I'm walking around Japan. There's a fusion of two different cultures played out in seemingly mundane and ubiquitous objects. And so the next time that you're in Japan, I encourage you to take a moment and be curious about the differences that you see. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Shut up! I'm not good at ending. Anyway, have a happy New Year's, and I'll see you in the next lesson.